welcome to Xbox, the Box and Xbox podcast. My name is Lewis, and I'm with my good friend Alice. How are you doing, Alice?
Hi, and I know there's some iffy preparations there, and if I looked a bit dark, then sorry about that. But right now is that I have changed some of the settings set up there, where I've moved myself to a standing desk so I can stand and sit while I do stuff. I think I mentioned this last week. I don't know. But I've also did well, I'm now experimenting on the new computer instead of a Mac, which means I got more features. I got extra RAM and all those faster processor. So now CPU went from about 9% to 0.3%, but probably a lot of processing is done with a graphics card, I think. But either way, it's just that when I just transferred my settings over to the OBS, it's just I transferred most of from the scenes, but I have to redo some of the objects on there because some of the objects run a bit differently on the Mac compared to Windows, so I have to recreate and redo stuff. But so far, I'm learning new things, got more features on it, and that includes dealing with the files things. And I've also took advantage of a virtual camera now, which means I can have a webcam for this podcast and use it for Discord or web chat as well. So it helps. Yeah, so essentially you're on a brand new computer, so it's going to be a bit different this week, but hopefully you guys won't notice the difference too much, and hopefully this will be an improvement going forward. We can do some cool stuff with it. So, so I mean, it started off with, the podcast started with me recording it, and then Alex started recording it, and now Alex got a better computer to record on, so the quality hopefully has improved since we started. So fingers crossed. We've got quite not a massive news packed episode compared to the last 2 weeks. I mean, we had the game showcase followed by the court case. We got a couple of court case news that we didn't cover last week, and a couple of other smaller things, but this is going to be a quieter week, I think, this week, which is nice because it's nice not to be feeling like we're in a rush and we've got loads to get through. So, a bit more of a quiet week this week. We're going to start off how we always start off with, what have we been playing? What have we been playing?
So, Alice, what have you been playing?
Oh, it just turns out I got this title and I've sent it all this time. But anyway.
It don't matter.
Dipping my fingers into different pies. I'm not so prepared for it. I've been playing...
Oh, sorry, I can go first if you like.
No, it's all right. Advance Wars 1+2, still playing it. Now getting into the second campaign, and so far getting some really annoying missions where there was one of the factory missions where there's a big missions where you had to destroy the pipe that leads to the factory in order to win. But last time I played it, it's just so difficult. You have to defend against a enemy, and it's so difficult to defend, which I barely managed to stick around and destroy the pipe. Then I'm on the next mission where you had to destroy... something's wrong with your webcam.
Anyway, sorry about that. You're playing Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, and you've got through the campaign. So that's cool.
I haven't beaten it yet because I'm going through some difficult missions, and I'm stuck in the mission where you have to try to sink down 9 battleships in less than about 2 weeks or some sort. It's really difficult. That even if I got everyone in, I couldn't sink all the battleships and keep losing, so I had to come up with a strategy. But I've also been playing Sonic Origins Plus, been doing story mode, and I seem to have a blast through Sonic's 1 and 2 and Sonic CD, which is great. And then as soon as you get over to Sonic CD, it's just not Sonic CD, Sonic 3, and audio quality dipped. You got used to the crisp audio and Sonic's 1 and 2, and now you got over to Sonic 3, which is now a bit muffled, which would explain why the prototype tracks they had in it also sound really muffled.
Michael Jackson got his revenge. the ghost of Michael Jackson ruined the audio for Sonic 3.
Well, no, because his tracks used to be in the original Sonic 3. Now his tracks
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
got to replace with the prototype ones. But honestly, other people on YouTube did some like better remasters of it, and it sounds so much better. Even like uses better instruments. But yeah, Sonic 3 is just pretty much there. And also the Plus upgrade is just only gives you extra playable characters and game you titles where it doesn't have any synced up audio, which is annoying. Also, I played a bit of Paladins, but I've been playing a lot of Halo Infinite, and there's a deal going on that has a Season 2 bundle, which has 3 packs, 2 for Iron Strike, and there's like another one which has the Lotus helmet, which each of them are like above 1,000, and the most expensive one is 1,700 credits. If you go,
Crikey.
But for the bundle, like it's discounted if you buy any of the bundles, but you can get all 3 packs for 2,200 credits. So, well, it's actually cheap if you think about it, because you're spending like 500 more than the most expensive pack. So you literally like spend just under 1,000 for each pack, which is really a huge deal. Also, there's another one of those packs, which is a blue and beige one. Also contains the Mark 6 shoulder pads, which comes on the Master Chief and Halo 2. So I think it's an interesting shop, but apart from that, it's just like always comes with packages that has more expensive price tags. So la-di-da.
Yeah, I don't really buy microtransactions in Halo. I only buy the season pass. So,
you did like buy some things like I think it was the fusion coil stands, as well as like the blades for your samurai armor.
I did, yeah. I did buy a couple of things, but I know a lot. I'm buying a lot of things. I try and be sensible.
Also,
but yeah, I also have been playing a lot of Halo 4 as well, Season 4, and apparently you bumped into me last night when we were playing, and I didn't even realise. We were both playing separately. I guess we could have played together. I didn't realize. If I knew you were playing, I would have played. We could have co-opted.
Well, what happened is I went into the big team battle and trying to complete the challenges, and then when I went into this new map, so then I was like playing through, and then it's like, oh, is that Potatochief? Then I check through all the cameras when I'm dead. It's just like, oh, the orange armor, that must be you. Then I just got the text. So I've been using the text chat thing. So I put in like too sweet up there. Then there's someone saying,
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
And then someone was
I
like,
usually just mute the chat.
Oh, you did? Shame.
I always mute the chat, you see, because there's always got people just going like,
yeah,
you start a game up and then you just have this person going, I'm like, shut up! We're trying to play the game. I'm like, go away.
Oh,
so I always just mute everything.
I just put it into like text chat, and then you should show up on the top right screen, and you know it says, funny, yeah. Oh, you get those serial kills, yeah. So just going mucking around, but just as a battle, then it says a battle finished. There's like, I just put in, oh, do you watch Ruby? And then they just like came for the split second.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I saw someone put too easy, so maybe that might have been a reply to you saying too sweet. I don't know. That's funny. That's just funny. Yeah. So we both that's how little bit people play Halo Infinite, that we were both playing it and we ended up bumping into each other on there somehow.
You know, one day I'm gonna bob over to you as an enemy, and I'll try to give you a headshot. Because
you try that. Sure, fail.
Because I saw you didn't like gain a lot of kills during that game anyway.
No, that was one of my worst games ever. That was like my first game. I needed some warm up. I was awful. I think I know the game you're on about now as well. It was an awful game. I'm like, ugh. I think it was like I've got what it's called on this in Halo. It's like Control, where you got 3 sections of the map, but then once you get all 3 sections, it respawns and starts a new set of 3 places. I can't remember what it's called on this. I think it's called Control and like Destiny and stuff. I can't remember what it's called on Halo.
Total Control.
Total Control. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that mode annoys me. I'm not a huge fan of Total Control because just your team has to be organized, and my team would just not. So where is everyone?
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
Also,
Yeah. Halo.
also I think there's another thing that. Oh gosh, I was going to say, yeah, there's a bot playground. There used to be a mode on it, and I was like, perhaps I could like grind on this mode to get XP and then for my career rank. And then it's just like, oh, there's no playlist there, so you can't do matches with bots anymore. So it's a bit of a travesty, really.
I used to like doing that to, like, as you said, to just level up and stuff. It's just an easy way of leveling up. And plus, that's how I started with Halo Infinite, because we played the beta and the alpha, and the alpha and the beta were basically you against bots all the time. So, yeah, interesting. I love Halo Infinite. That was such a fun game. I've been playing a couple of games. So, is there? I've talk about it briefly.
Yeah, sure.
Still Zelda. Still obsessed. Still probably my game of the year. Haven't done too much more on it, but I just thought I'd bring it up that I have been playing it occasionally. But I got a couple other games I want to talk about as well. So first up is AEW Fight Forever. The first AEW game, and if you don't know what AEW is, it's All Elite Wrestling, which is the alternative to WWE. A wrestling game, essentially. It's designed to be more like the old school No Mercy games. It's made by Ukes, who made like WWF No Mercy and all the original N64 wrestling games. And it's got like some of the old producers and stuff. So it plays like the old N64 games. I've watched a lot of reviews, and a lot of reviews really dislike this game. I think it's quite fun. I'm a wrestling fan though, so I'm quite happy to play anything that's wrestling. I have fun with wrestling games. It's a fun game. I made Captain Wales and I've made Potatochief in there. I put a poll up on my YouTube channel because I do a wrestling YouTube channel to see which character people wanted to see me do the story mode with, and I've just started the story mode with Potatochief. So if you want to see my career as a professional wrestler, there's a video up on my channel where I've just started playing it. My character, like in his spare time, walks around with red headphones on and everything. So it's like, yes, this is perfect. It's so good. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's very arcadey. Like the WWE games have become more and more like simulation. They try to make it look as realistic as possible, like almost like photorealistic. Whereas this one looks like cartoons, basically. And it's fun. It's a fun game. If you like wrestling, I would recommend it. I think it's a fun game. Maybe not. It's full price though. It's like £60. So maybe wait for a sale. I would say it's missing some key features and stuff. But apparently they said it's going to be like No Man's Sky or Fortnite or whatever, where this is the base game, but they're going to add to it as it goes along, and they're not going to be doing yearly releases like WWE do. So that's cool. Last night I started playing Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine.
Oh.
A parody of Dr. Robotnik's, was it Bean Machine? You should know it. What's Dr. Robotnik's one? Mean Bean Machine, is it?
Yeah, the Mean Bean Machine. Dr. Robotnik's Sweet Bean Machine.
Yes, this is Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine. So it's a parody of that based in the Super Meat Boy universe. So you have it's Puyo Puyo, and then there's like chainsaws and stuff in the machine that like destroy certain blocks. So you have to like place them in certain ways to avoid getting hit by chainsaws. It's quite hard. It's actually it's probably the hardest Puyo Puyo game I've ever played. It's quite tricky.
Oh, really?
You got to try like time it. Yeah, because like you'll build a stack of Puyo Puyo, and then suddenly this chainsaw will just activate and just start like wipe out a row of them, and I'm like, oh well, I've just lost my combo there. Or like just go whoop, right there's like an oval shape just cut out of it. You got to be careful of where the patterns are. So just got to try and get used to it. It's fun though. I was playing it last night, and I had a bit of fun with it. I like puzzle games. I like Puyo Puyo type games. It's an interesting twist on it, and as I said, it's based in the Super Meat Boy universe. If you're a Super Meat Boy fan like I am, one of my favorite indie games of all time. It's worth checking out. If you like Puyo Puyo, you like Super Meat Boy, perfect.
I was going to buy...
If you just like Puyo Puyo, maybe buy Sorry, I was going to say, if you like normal Puyo Puyo, maybe play Puyo Puyo Tetris or Dr. Robotnik, though, maybe, because they're a bit more classic Puyo Puyo.
I kind of prefer the original Puyo Puyo. Like, I even got it from the Mega Drive as an import, and I also got it in some collections. but this is the best way to play it, really. But
Oh yeah.
I was going to buy that when the like Steam's on, and then there's come like Steam sales, so I just
Yeah.
got into Steam and I grabbed some like hang a minute, grab some deals there, which I'm trying to bring. Oh, never mind, it's not open. But I got like a power wash simulator on PC.
Ooh.
Best stress buster. Don't care, even if it's on Game Pass. And I've also got a few games off the wish list and Congress. I've also got the legendary Pizza Tower.
Oh, Pizza Tower. Yeah, we want to do a video about Pizza Tower at some point this week, so look forward to that, guys. We haven't got around to doing it yet, but we will try and do that at some point.
Everything's in place for it.
Yeah, you were saying about stress-free games. See, I thought this would be a game where I could like de-stress because it's like a puzzle game. So puzzle games are usually quite chill. This one is quite stressful. You got chainsaws and stuff going, killing all your Puyo Puyo. But yeah, if you don't know what Puyo Puyo is, guys, it's like kind of like Tetris, but it's about getting 4 bubbles in a row or connected, and then they disappear. It's very big in Japan, and it's like puzzle game. So yeah, Puyo Puyo meets Super Meat Boy with like high tension chainsaws and stuff. It's quite fun. It's £7. It's just not that much. It's quite a cheap game.
Well,
I got it for £7.
The Pizza Tower is part of a Steam sale, so I think the Dr. Fetus's machine thing is like discounted as well. But you can get Pizza Tower for £11, and I just had a bit of a blast with it because, like, I was a bit skeptical with Steam these days, and I'm not sure about my PC. But then I got a new PC, more powerful components into it. And the reason is I just want to have a proper workstation compared to the old PC. I got a Dell XPS, but I'm not really like using it that much. So then I just like got a desktop PC, and one of the things I did is just like put Steam into it. And I just say that if I were to get Steam working on my new PC, I can get Pizza Tower. So what I did, got the game booted up, instantly recognizes my Xbox controller. And it's really solid, really fun to play. So I completed a bunch of levels, and I can tell that if you're not into the PC Master Race type of stuff and you prefer consoles, then until it comes over to the Switch, for instance, you would definitely get to enjoy Pizza Tower because it just really works with a fluid interface. And a lot of levels are like a ton of fun.
It just makes me laugh that you say I got a brand new PC in the first game you played with Pizza Tower. But yes, graphically intensive game, Pizza Tower. The game looks like a WarioWare game, but it's like push it. Like people go like, oh, I got Crisis to run my computer and see how powerful it could be, or like these graphically intensive games. It's like, Pizza Tower, Well, it's like that meme I've seen on Facebook where it's like, you've just bought a brand new PC, what are you going to play on it? It's like, oh, I'm going to play the best game ever, and they're all playing Stardew Valley. It's like on their like super expensive computers that like run like massive graphics. Yeah, Stardew Valley. But I'm one of those people who I'm not a graphics snob. I love retro games, so I'm only joking when it comes.
Well, how powerful is your graphics card at the moment in your laptop?
I don't know. It's a potato. It's rubbish.
Well,
I don't know. I can't. It's in the video. It's in the video one, but it's like 8 years old. I can't remember exactly what one it is. So
mine is at the moment a GTX 1070. And I'm looking at different graphics cards I can get for it, which is whether it's a AMD, which seems to be more favoured, especially for games, or I can get an NVIDIA one, which is more expensive, but still offers all-round power for things like production applications as well. So still up in the air, and I'm still waiting for Prime Day to come over and see what bigger discounts I can get. But I begin to think as if it may not be that important to get a NVIDIA RTX 4070 because it just seems the last generation of cards does actually do well for the price. But then it just depends if you want to have the best out of a 4K gaming. But then I'm just beginning to think as if I would like play only retro older games or 2D games, which kind of justifies, just pretty much justifies the cost of like the last generation cards. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's true, because when you say stuff like that, like I picture myself getting a Steam Deck, or I've got what it's called now. It's
Asus
basically like
Ally.
a Steam Deck. Acer Ally, yeah, they're like £1,000, yeah. It's like, oh, I wouldn't mind one of those. But then I'm thinking, I'll just play N64 games and NES games on it, so I might as well just keep my Switch, to be perfectly honest. Because those are the main kind of games I play when I'm bored and got nothing to do, you know?
Yes.
I would like to get an Ally, but they're really expensive, yeah. Who makes Ally again? Is it Asus,
Asus.
did you say?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Asus.
I've seen an Asus laptop that I would want to buy for about £1,000, so that's in my wish list, but I'm waiting for a bit of a windfall, bit of money to come through. I'm still a bit skint at the moment. So fingers crossed someday soon I'll be able to get one. Fingers crossed. I don't want to get into too much detail, but let's just say my workplaces I should be able to get some money for a laptop soon, but there's no date yet. So it could be like next week, or it could be like 6 months from now. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I need a new laptop because this one is dying. I touched the top of my laptop a minute ago, and it's literally hot. It's like I could cook an egg on it. It's like
I was going to mention about eggs and bacon.
Ooh, yeah. Well, literally, all I'm doing is talking to you on Discord, and I got the show notes up on the right side of the screen. So I'm not even running much on my computer, and it's still like fiery hot. So yeah, I need a new laptop as soon as possible. This is an 8-year-old laptop. It's done me well, but yeah. It's a NVIDIA GeForce. It says. I don't know what that means. Yeah, and I-Core 7.
Ooh, iCore 7 is quite nice. It's a shame that your computer is like really like lagging behind.
It's old now. It's old. Shh, it's okay, computer. It's okay. I still love you. It's done me well. It's done me proud. And I've managed to do like thousands of YouTube videos on it, so I can't complain too much. It's been a good computer. Yeah, so that's what we've been playing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I did put an off-topic thing in here. I'm not sure if you wanted to discuss it or not. You got your show notes up. It's up to you. It's an Alice discussion topic.
I think the off topics are usually at the beginning, but then I think that's for like another time, or do it in a separate vid or some sort. Because I think there's a lot of like go free, but we're already like 23 minutes into it, so we should move on to the news now. Okay,
no problem. Yeah. For people who are curious, it's just a little thing about computers, but we're going to talk about that in a future date, so it's not a problem.
The news at Xbox O'Clock.
Right, so it is our news. We've got a couple of news stories, nothing major. We got 1, 2, 3, 5 news stories. As the kind of funny people go, a baker's dozen, which is not actually a baker's dozen. That's 9, 8. I think 8.
I think anyway, there's a lot of it comes from the FTC case where Jim Ryan thinks all devs hate Game Pass and does not provide any examples. And I think that was like last week.
It is, yeah. That wasn't. We didn't cover that in our podcast because that was day 4 or 5 of the case, and we only got to cover the first 3 days because that's when we recorded. So yeah, Jim Ryan says all developers / publishers hate Game Pass, even though there's a lot of developers who keep putting their games in Game Pass. So I think that is complete and utter bollocks. And they have to pay money. Like Jim Ryan has to pay money to keep people from using Game Pass, from stopping people to going on to Game Pass. It's like, please don't go on Game Pass. I beg you. I'll pay you money. And then he's like, oh, no, they hate it. They really hate it. They don't want to go on it, even though they blatantly do.
Well,
and it's like Xbox came out and said most of the people who were on latest announcements for Game Pass are developers and publishers who have already published games on Game Pass. Like Sega keeps coming back, which we're going to talk more about Sega in a minute. There's loads of companies like Capcom and EA and stuff that keep putting stuff on Game Pass. So, what is Jim Ryan talking about?
Well, actually,
nonsense.
Well, there's an article that says that one of the developers have spoken out and proven like how bad it is. That he said all the developers hate it, but apparently one of the developers came across and says what he's saying is like really bollocks at the moment, and said that like they benefited from Game Pass and they're happy with it. So, and also the Stray's coming over to Game Pass in August as well. So it just seems like, yeah, we could be getting some like really good stuff going on.
Is it coming to Game Pass? I thought it was coming to Xbox. I didn't realize it was coming to Game Pass. That's cool.
Is it? I don't know. It's just coming to Xbox, so I can't tell if it's Game Pass or not.
No. Yeah, it's like I wish the Jim Ryan would just shut up. It gets on my nerves. I'm going to say in Jim Ryan's defense, which I never thought I'd ever say the words in Jim Ryan's defense because he already has no defense. In Jim Ryan's defense, Bobby Kotick did say he's not a fan of Game Pass, but he says it's like it's not up to him and he's going to have to just do what he's told, basically.
Oh,
so
it's a Football Manager dev, which I think it's something interactive.
Sega.
It's not Sega is actually developer of it, and it said Sports Interactive, who just went on to say that, they're saying that it's good for Game Pass, and they think Jim Ryan's argument is pretty lame. So yeah, it also points out that 2 Point Hospital's launch on Game Pass benefited from the Game Pass, as well as like no more robots on it as well. So yeah, it just seems like the Game Pass is beneficial, which kind of like invalidates Jim Ryan's point. Now, moving on, there's also some other things like Sony caught blunder where they didn't handle the documents right, and it reveals that the cost of Last of Us 2 and Horizon Forbidden West are like $200 million. Is it each or in total?
Each, about $200 million each. I think it was like 3 years for The Last of Us and 2 years for... No, it was more than that. I can't remember the exact figures, but they were expensive games. Basically, the people who redacted Sony's thing used a Sharpie that was running out of ink, and you can still see through the Sharpie the actual prices and stuff, which is hilarious. They've been redacted again since, but it was too late because it's already on the internet. So yeah, apparently that's how much video games cost to make, is about $200 million to develop The Last of Us 2 and Horizon Forbidden West. I mean, The Last of Us 2, they probably got their money back, but Horizon, I'm not so sure because that game wasn't that great, honestly. But I guess a lot of people still bought it. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Last of Us 2, by the way, but I'm just saying I know it was successful and won a lot of game awards and stuff. Yeah, it's interesting to see how much games cost to develop. And you can see why Sony is so scared of Game Pass, because they want 70 quid from you. They want 70 quid from you every 3 months or every 2 months for a new game, instead of us paying £15 a month for a year, which works out cheaper. They don't like the subscription model. They're scared, which is fair enough, I suppose. It kind of makes sense that you'd be scared of Game Pass because Game Pass is such a good deal.
So to wrap this up, the court case will be rating on the result on the 4th of July. Hang a minute. Oh,
no, so the court case would be done. Normally, it would be the news would have been on the 4th of July. We would have had information, but obviously that's an American holiday, America Day, Independence Day, where Will Smith kills all the aliens. So we should get a result next week because there's an American holiday this week, so they weren't in court this week. So next week we should get the results, and that's why I'm having a quiet news week, because essentially we're in the eye of the the eye of the storm. We're outside the storm. We're waiting for it to pick up again. It's about to start up again next week. Next week we're gonna have tons of news probably, but this week we're a bit of a quiet one. So happy 4th of July, Americans. Enjoy shooting your guns and drinking your beer. And America's freedom. I love you, America. Don't get
anyway.
I'm not hating.
We also need to know that, the next news is the Rings again. Lord of the Rings Gollum Studio is now not doing any games anymore due to the bad review response. And they're just going to move on to other projects. So I think it's just a massive shame, really. So it's like...
Yeah. I mean, I don't like to see games developers struggling and failing and being shut down, but That game was bad. I mean, we're in a year that had Redfall in it, and yet they had the worst game of the year so far, which is insanely... like, you somehow were even worse than Redfall. Come on now, Gollum. Get your shit together. Like, how can you be even worse than that? Yeah, the game looks awful. Wasn't very well received, and it didn't sell very well. I mean, I'm not a massive Lord of the Rings fan by any means, but like, if you go, oh, we're gonna make a Lord of the Rings game, it's like, oh, what character are you gonna base it on? It's like, oh, we're gonna base it on Gollum. It's like, oh, why Gollum? Oh, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna make a Star Wars game. Oh, we're gonna base it on. Oh, we're making the Jar Jar Binks game. You know, just because. Yeah, me Jar Jar Binks. Like, come on now. I know Gollum's an important character in Lord of the Rings, but he's not a very interesting character to do a game about. I think that was like day one. That project should have been scrapped. I don't know how it got released. I don't understand.
I think it's just going to be dismissed. It's just another wasteful games, really. But if the same would have happened to like Hogwarts Legacy as well, except this one sold a lot of copies, and it shouldn't be.
Oh, the muggles! The filthy hobbits and the muggles!
My precious. All around that room.
You do a good voice.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I'll send his pockets.
You need to practice more. I need that ring. But anyway, enough. So the next thing is you got a Fantasy League update, and not a lot has happened really. So
not a lot has happened. No, but we just keep that in the documents, so we have something to talk about if we have a quiet week, which we are. I mean, definitely not much has changed. I bought the Mario games last week, which I was quite proud of.
Yeah, you are definitely proud of it.
I have a chance to make it a comeback, but it looks like you've probably won the Fantasy League this year, but we will see.
Well, there's still a lot of months to go, really. We also have to go through autumn as well. But anyway, we have some breaking news.
Breaking news!
Ooh, I like it. What we got?
Damn it, it's just not aligned. Bear with me. But yeah, so we got an announcement to say that Grand Theft Auto 5 is joining Game Pass in July. Available on both console and cloud, with both Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S versions available, which is out today. Anyway, Exo Primal is out on the 14th of July on Game Pass, along with Sword and Fairy Together Forever and Tectonica, as well as The Cave, which I got as part of the gold deals, but you can also get it on Game Pass by the looks of it. And you also got like Barbie and Ken cards in like Forza Horizon 5, new game modes in Hi-Fi Rush. But what's leaving the Game Pass service is only free. It's XO1, Paw Patrol the movie, and Spelunky 2.
Oh yeah, so the first one I played quite a bit. It's like an interactive, like you gotta like, I don't know. It's like you've got to click around and try and find out what interacts with it, and then when you interact, something funny happens. It's like almost like a comedy slapstick kind of game. It's interesting. I'm definitely going to play it. Probably an easy 1,000 game score, I imagine. You have to have a look at the achievement list.
I played the original Mac Pixel, and to be honest, it's a short and sweet game because it's like a quick point and click adventure, and it gets really weird. But it's definitely worth playing. So I do hope that Mac Pixel 3 is worth playing. So we could do the first 10 minutes of it. So who knows?
Oh yeah, got all the achievements. Achievement guide. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Grand Theft Auto is the big one, obviously, but obviously that's been out for quite a while. If you don't own Grand Theft Auto, like, seriously, where have you been? If you've ever bought Grand Theft Auto now, like, what the hell? But if you're one of the two people on the planet who does not own Grand Theft Auto 5, crack on, get Game Pass, and get some Grand Theft Auto 5 in your life.
Yes.
For sure. I've got it on multiple systems.
I played Grand Theft Auto 4 when I was like at Newport University. And then I got like Grand Theft Auto 5 for PlayStation 3. But then I moved on from it as soon as I beaten the story mode. But I think it's just pretty much favoured because of its expansive multiplayer mode. But I haven't got into it because whenever I tried it and going into the open world online, I keep getting blown up by tanks and everything. And it's just like as if there's World War III going in there. So it's not that fun.
Oh, we'll have to play some. I got a nice penthouse. You can come visit me in my penthouse in Grand Theft Auto. Got a lovely penthouse. I got a really nice flat inside the Nakatomi Plaza from Die Hard. It's like, yes, please. I'm in the building from Die Hard. I got my own flat. I was so chuffed with that. I got Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS3, PS4, Xbox One, and I think I've got it on a Series X as well. I got it like 4 times, and I got it on PC as well. So, yeah, I'm one of those people who's the problem. I'm the problem. They keep releasing this game because people keep buying it, and I'm that person. Yes. Sorry, guys. It's my fault.
Anyway,
so... if you haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5, recommend it highly. And try out McPixel as well. It might be fun. Who knows?
So let's move on to the topic now.
It's time for the topic of the show.
Topic!
And I haven't updated it, which continues on how I wasn't so prepared. I didn't realise you can read the file, but that's all right. So Sega turns down Xbox.
Well, we think. We're not 100% sure. I haven't actually... I mean, you might know more about this than I do, but obviously in 2020, Xbox were going to buy Sega, or at least attempt to buy Sega. And now we're in 2023 and nothing's happened. Has Sega turned down Xbox? Was Xbox decide to go for Activision instead? Are they going to buy Sega next? I mean, these are all the big questions. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I just think the more you say it, the more I'm convinced that they should be like getting Sega over. But I just feel like, according to the article, it's just like they prefer to continue to be part of Sega and Sammy corporation, and just want to keep making games under that label. But they also said they want to maintain a strong partnership with like Xbox. So, but then
interesting.
Can they just like do a partnership where they can bring their games over to Game Pass? I mean, that would be enough, isn't it?
I mean, that's kind of what's happening anyway. We're getting Yakuza, we're getting Persona 3, Persona 5 Tactica, and we're getting that new Persona type game, which I can't remember the name of. Metaphor, I think it was.
Yeah, Metaphor.
We're not getting Sonic, which is annoying. I would love to have the new Sonic games.
Yeah. I just think if you have the Sonic or any other Mega Drive games to it, it would make it as a killer app for retro gamers and even young gamers. But apart from that, it's just like any other Sega games like 2 Point Hospital, Campus, as well as like Football Manager, you can get it on the Game Pass easy enough. It's just you won't get certain games like Sonic, for instance, or even Knights like that.
Yeah, because Sonic Superstars, I really want to image, and Sonic Origins, I'm interested in getting both of those games, but I don't really want to pay full price for them. So if they were a Game Pass, I would be playing them right now, probably. Sonic Origins.
I think
you got it on Switch.
Yeah, I got it on the Switch, and I got it when it was like half price. But then I had to get a Plus upgrade, and it's very confusing because you can't buy it separately because I already got deluxe stuff. But then I had to pay about £8 to get the one that has all the deluxe upgrades, and that's how I got Plus content for it. So I don't understand. It's just kind of seems as if they're messing with me a bit.
Yeah. I mean, because I was going to buy that last night because I was in a retro mood, and then I saw that that was like 40 quid, and then I saw Super Meat, Dr. Robotnik's Dr. Fetus's meat machine for £7. I bought that instead to fill the what I wanted. I wanted like a nostalgic type of game, even though it's a new game, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, it's the price puts me off. It is a bit expensive, I feel, for a load of retro games, especially when some of them are on like Switch Online and stuff. You know,
yes.
It's like You can get like a Sega collection which has most of the Sonic games on it as well, which is like, come on now, we need to sort this.
Yes.
For sure. But I've said every single podcast, Xbox needs to buy Sega. It seems like the perfect fit for Sega and Xbox. Xbox, they're missing Japanese developers. They're missing a backlog of retro games. They're missing Japanese JRPGs and stuff like that. If they buy Sega, they get all three of them in one go, one swoop. That fixes all their weak points in their console lineup. You know, and then they got good PC and they got good mobile games as well, which is what Xbox are trying to move into as well. So I think it's perfect, personally. Sega seems like the perfect fit for Xbox. But yeah, Japanese companies are awkward. Like, I remember the story that came out a couple of months ago that Xbox, when they first started Xbox, like 20 years ago, they tried to buy Nintendo straight off the bat, and Nintendo just laughed them out of the building. Nintendo were like not having anything to do with it. And they just laughed at them. It was like, wow, like how disrespectful can you be just to laugh at your competition? It's like Nintendo wanted nothing to do with being bought out by Xbox back in the day. So I can see Sega having a similar mentality because they're like similar companies. I think Sega's kind of a little bit less successful than Nintendo, just a little bit because of the console issues and stuff. But I can see them having pride and not wanting to be bought by a Western company. I could see that being a thing. I don't know. Interesting though. Sega Xbox in Japan. I've already said this. Rename it to the Sega Xbox, and people will buy it. And have Sonic on the box like this. Sega people will buy it then.
Well,
Japanese people even.
I think they're also looking at different companies and they already bought other ones. And I think they were like looking at buying Singer, for instance, and there's also like Hitman developer or some sort.
IO Interactive, yeah, IO.
So
there's a couple.
So if they were to go through the Activision, whether they succeed or not, do you reckon they're going to end up buying another company after this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they said they're not done buying. They're going to keep buying stuff for Game Pass. But I think Activision's probably going to be the biggest purchase they're going to make. I think that's going to be their big one. Now they're going to start moving on to smaller publishers then, just to like round out their roster. I mean, Sega would be quite big, but it wouldn't be $69 billion big, you know? What I find interesting as well is we were talking, you know, earlier in the podcast, we were talking about how The Last of Us leaked out. It was $2 billion. It cost $200 million to make and all that, and then it was redacted after the fact. You know, last week we were talking about Xbox. Xbox leaked. They had an Xbox list of games what they were companies they were considering buying. They re-released that with redacted statements, so they blocked out where it said they wanted to buy Sega and stuff. So they made that so they didn't want the public to see the Xbox wanted to buy Sega, which makes me suspicious, or makes me think that they might still be on the cards. The fact that they've tried to block that information out. I think someone doesn't understand how the internet works, because once it's out there, it's not gone. It's not going to go away. But yeah, they re-released all the statements with that blocked out, with all the Sega stuff blocked out, which makes me think that they might still be after Sega. And this might not be a done deal. Like it might not be over. We might still see it.
It just reminds me of that, you know, in the late 80s or some sort like that. Nintendo and Sega were pretty much at their necks. And apparently you see loads of games on the NES compared to the Master System, right? Well, Nintendo has actually been buying companies. So they put out this license where if you want to develop for the NES, you release games exclusively for the Nintendo Entertainment System, which is why Sega Master System usually get loads of games from UK developers. So, but then they tried to do the same with the Super Nintendo, but it turns out to be illegal. But according to one documentary, when it talks about like game developers in the 90s, there's a thing that says like, if you want to develop games for either the Mega Drive or the Super Nintendo, you had to choose which side, which is why UK developers chose the Sega Mega Drive over the Super Nintendo, and vice versa for some of the developers. But it's also in the early 90s, you have like Capcom and Konami now like developing games for the Sega Mega Drive. and they exclusively been making games for the Nintendo Entertainment System and not on like the Master System.
Yeah, I mean, the Nintendo had a lot of dodgy business practices during the NES era. Like, excuse me, they used to have it. So I think I'm not 100% sure of this. I think you could only make 5 games a year on cartridge for Nintendo. So you had some companies making shell companies or secondary companies, so they can release even more games. Like they limited the amount of games that could be released and stuff like that, and then obviously limited the amount of cartridges they give to developers. And then as soon as Sony came out with the disc version of the Sony PlayStation, that's why a lot of people just jumped onto Sony because they were kind of fed up with Nintendo shit, to be honest.
But do you think this echoes a lot with the Microsoft acquisitions and them like saying they only make 4 first-party games every year or some sort?
Yeah, I mean they're not saying only 4, but that's their main goal is to have a 4 pillar games every year, like 4 big games every year, and then a load of smaller ones just to kind of supplement us. Kind of makes sense. Like if you watch like Netflix, it's like, okay, we got The Witcher, and then we got The Crown, and then we got Stranger Things, and they'll always have one show that's like the hot thing. Like The Witcher's back for season 3 now in Netflix. That's the new thing at the moment. And then the next thing will probably be Stranger Things. Probably, I don't know. But basically, they try and have it so there's something that everyone's talking about every 3 months or so. So I can imagine that's what Xbox are aiming to do. They're following the Netflix model. We want to have big pillar games every couple of months. So Redfall was meant to be that, and that was a massive failure. So they need to work on that and make sure that we can be consistent. Starfield coming up, and then we got Forza. And then probably early 2024, we're going to see something. I don't know what, probably Hellblade or Avowed. And then we're going to hopefully have a cadence of new games every 3 months then. Fingers crossed.
Anyway,
big games anyway.
To wrap this topic up, what would you reckon that Microsoft will be aiming for? Like, if they can't get Sega and whether they get Activision or not, which are the companies, whether it's announced or not, do you believe Microsoft should be aiming for next?
I mean, they've got a massive list of companies they could go for. IO is the one that everyone's been saying, so the Hitman developers, and they're making a game for Xbox exclusive at the moment, so that's still a possibility. Maybe, I mean, they were considering buying Square, which would have been interesting because Sony's been money hatting all the Square Enix games. It'd be funny if Square Enix suddenly became an Xbox developer.
Well, that would be really funny.
It would be developed. Yeah, I mean, I got a question for you. It's like it's kind of off topic a little bit, but if Xbox could only have one JRPG series and it was exclusive, would you prefer it to be Persona or Final Fantasy?
Persona.
Yeah, me too. So I prefer Sega to Square Enix personally. If they we're buying Sega, we're having Persona exclusive to Xbox, I'll be down for that. I much prefer that than Final Fantasy 7 and 13, or what's the latest one? 16 that's just come out. Yeah. It looks like Game of Thrones.
Apparently,
I prefer Persona myself.
Apparently, it's not that great. The Final Fantasy 16, and even during Inquisition, it's like digging into it, especially if it's bad story. But if you were to ask me a question with any franchise, then I would still say Phantasy Star, as it's a strict Sega franchise anyway. I just think like they've been doing like MMOs for like systems, but if they were to like get the Xbox deal and get it right, they could make a reboot of Phantasy Star JRPG on the Mega Drive, or get Final Fantasy Star 5 as well, because I think there's a lot of potential for it. It's a shame that this one has been like pigeonholed into a MMO stuff.
That's true. I mean, it'd be nice to have some Japanese games on the Xbox. The Xbox is lacking the Japanese exclusives. I mean, obviously, when the original Xbox came out, we had Blue Dragon. And that was like the only one I can really think of. I won Lost Odyssey on the Xbox 360. Those are the only JRPGs that are like exclusive to Xbox. We need more of that, I think. I like the idea of us getting stuff early on Game Pass and getting it for free on Game Pass, like Personas and stuff. But it's not the same as having an exclusive, you know?
Anyway,
it's interesting. We'll have to just see what happens with that.
Also,
as I said, Sega, they should buy Sega. I hope that after the Activision deal closes, hopefully it'll close next week. Hoping that we will get Sega next. Fingers crossed.
Anyway,
you go ahead. So.
I would say that Microsoft should be aiming to buy Rooster Teeth again, because the company is kind of like on its last legs, sticking to the podcasts. But the advantage of Microsoft or 343 Industries is that they should get it for like Red vs. Blue, which is a parody series of like Halo, which kind of makes more of a full circle when they took the Halo stuff into their series. Now the Microsoft, if they buy back Rooster Teeth, they get Red vs. Blue and integrate it into the Halo universe.
I was wondering how you were going to get Rooster Teeth or Ruby into the conversation.
Well, honestly, I just feel that, given that the whole context of it, that even if you don't have Ruby in the picture, you would still like have a lot of potential for the Rooster Teeth joining Microsoft. But then again, I think at the moment they seem to be on a chopping block, and also a lot of controversies just kind of like tainted its image too, so it's not that great.
Get the Rooster Teeths. Get the Rooster Teeths. You did the Rooster Teeths. We did them.
Now, let's wrap this up. So, get ready for the final question.
I have a question for you, Chief.
This is not related to the topic. I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite game and feel that could be the game of the year this year of 2023?
Okay. So my favorite game that's released this year.
Yes.
So far. I mean, it's kind of obvious, kind of simple one, but it's Zelda Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom, not Breath of the Wild. That game came out 5 years ago. Tears of the Kingdom, also known as Breath of the Wild 2. The Tears of the Kingdom is such a fantastic game. If we're going to Xbox exclusive, Hi-Fi Rush, because Hi-Fi Rush is amazing, and I would highly recommend anyone playing that game. Is fantastic. Also think Resident Evil 4 is great as well. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Metro Prime Remake for the Switch is also really good, and one of the best looking games on the Switch, was hilarious because the game's old as hell. But Tears of the Kingdom, that game is insanely good. Only game I could see possibly beating it is maybe Starfield, but even then, I'm like, it's going to have to be a hell of a game for me to be thinking it's better than Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom took one of my favorite games of all time, which was Breath of the Wild, tripled it in size. So you added like another 2 worlds, basically. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't played it. And then you have like new stuff to do and new abilities and building stuff, and it's just the best. It's such a good game. I'm really going to be gutted when I finish it. I've been taking my time with it. I could have finished it months ago when it first came out, but I'm like, I've done the 4 main bosses, plus I've done the additional stuff, got all the swords, and I'm basically on the last mission, and I refuse to do it. I'm just doing all the side quests. I'm not going to do the last mission until I've finished everything else. I don't want it to end. I'll be too sad when it's over. I love it too much. I'm probably going to try to end it just before Starfield comes out, and then I can put all my time and effort into Starfield. So to answer your question, my game of the year so far, Tears of the Kingdom. The only game I could see beating it is Starfield, which is going to be an interesting game of the year discussion at the end of the year. Is it going to be Starfield? Is it going to be Tears of the Kingdom? Ooh. How about you, Alice? What is your game of the year so far? I would love to hear it.
Well, the only game that might be the game of the year is Starfield, but I have to wait another 2 months for it. But I haven't played enough Tears of the Kingdom to see whether this is a game of the year, so this might be a bit tricky. Also, I've been like enjoying it, like as if, how do I put it? I've been enjoying a lot of like Advance Wars 2 and 3. I've been playing it way more than like Tears of the Kingdom. I've also been playing like some other games too, which seems to be like serious contenders. And this includes like Pizza Tower and other games as well. But I would say that my favorite game of the year so far is Hi-Fi Rush, because Hi-Fi Rush is a well done hack and slash game. It's one of the best shadow drops ever made in the history of Xbox.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it also like has plenty of fun challenges, and even the DLC really like breathes more life into it. So I would so yeah, if you're able to have if you don't have a Xbox but you do have a PC, then you would definitely need to check out Hi-Fi Rush, because it's definitely like a top game. But
And it's still better than God of War. Which
Yeah.
annoys everyone when I say it, but it's true. It's better than God of War. I don't care what people say. Hi-Fi Rush is better than God of War. And people are mad at me when I say it, but it's true. Great game. Sorry, I had to say it.
Well, there's a, but I also say that the Advance Wars 1 or 2 is like a runner up, because it got me into Advance Wars again. The gameplay is like really smoothed out, and it's got lots of content. The only thing that kind of like pulls it back is the fact it's not really perfect. It doesn't does a huge amount of improvements on it, or even quality of life. Like, there's a lack of options with it, including accessibility. But then it's definitely one of the better games by Way Forward, which they did a fantastic job on it, and I'm really pleased with it. But I think when it comes to anything, there's going to be some like obscure games like Pizza Towers, which could be the next Vampire Survivors. But then I think
I was going to say Vampire Survivors is still up there for me, even though it came out last year. I would say the DLC for Vampire Survivors, I'm still addicted to that game. That game is great. Whenever there's a new DLC, I drop everything and I just play Vampire Survivors for like 5-6 hours to get all the achievements.
Yes.
That game is still amazing. So even though it came out, technically it's last year, I'm still going to count it because this game's great.
Now, let's wrap this up. We've already gone through the things. It looks like we could be on for a really good podcast session. So if you have any of the problems with it, I mean, there's going to be some like recording issues on it, and I'm going to have to edit those out. But then if you have any comments about how it goes and you have any problems with the audio, video, let us know in the comments section below. But I have to say, it's the first time doing it on PC, much easier than I expected.
Yeah. I really appreciate you put the effort in with the new PC. So this is episode 59 of X Marks the Box. Next week is our big episode 60, which I haven't really got anything planned for it, but it's just, it's a round number, which is nice. And we're catching up with the PS3 Trust guys. They've just done episode 69 and then episode 70, so we're 10 behind them. We'll catch them eventually.
We're coming for you.
We're coming for you. We're going to take you over. Yeah.
Even the subscribers got like about near to 140, which we are not far off on their subscriber number of like around 150. But subscribe to them too if you like PlayStation as well.
Yeah, and subscribe to us again with your alternative accounts. And then log into your mum's account and then subscribe to us again. No, we appreciate every subscriber you have, every comment, all that. We really appreciate it. We're still a new podcast, but we really enjoy doing it, and we want to keep doing it for as long as we can, and we want to try and add new content and stuff, and we really appreciate every single one of you. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Anything else you want to say, Alice, before we wrap up for the day?
That's all.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Give us a 5-star on Spotify and all that jazz. You know the drill. We really appreciate everyone who's supporting the channel. And thank you guys for watching. And until next time, too sweet. It is, guys.
Bye. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the X Marks the Box podcast. Follow us at X Marks Box on Twitter or X Marks the Box on YouTube. And follow us on all audio podcast services. Thanks for listening.
I love those a bit, but I don't know. I'll be right back. I should be there we go. Lay down.
And also your microphone's reset as well.
God damn it. Sorry.
That's okay.
Why did you do that? Why did you do that? She does it every time. My mum goes, "Oh, she's a dog. She doesn't know what she's doing." She blatantly knows what she's doing. She does it every time. Every week she does it. I don't know how she does it, but she does it every single time.
But why is she not in a doghouse outside or some sort?
Because she's always with me. She's an old lady dog. She doesn't like to be left alone. She's quite clingy.